Yeah, hello all. Welcome to the session. So, Atik here. So, let's start the session in another 2 more minutes. Let's wait for people to join. And yeah, I hope you guys can see my screen and hear me. Please confirm in the chat. Yeah, I did enable the chat. So, please confirm whether you guys can see my screen and hear me. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, hi, Ernest. Hi, Ami. So, today is a demo session, by the way. So, let's wait for 2 more minutes and we'll start. In the meantime, you guys can introduce yourself. Or, yeah, just let me know if you have any experience um, in Linux prior to this session. Yeah. Does anyone have any experience beforehand? Yeah, Amir. 100% it will be useful for your RHCSA exam because our whole batch is revolves around RHCSA exam pattern only. I will even share a exams question paper and we will complete all the questions in that. Okay, so for sure, like once you're done with the sessions, like within 1 week, if you prepare the same, whatever we discussed, you can appear in the exam. Okay? That's fine, Ernest. So that's the answer I require. Okay. So because many people will start the career with Linux, which is great because this is the one of the method or one of the way. And because this is also one of the easiest way, I would say, compared to your developers. Let's say you are planning for Python developer or some other like stream, so that would take a lot of time. Okay, so comparatively, this is kind of easy until you put your full potential in it. Okay, so if you do so, it is way easier compared to your Python and all because that will take a lot of time. Okay, so trust me, it will take at least 6 to 7 months. That one. Whereas this one is far easy and straightforward. Okay. Yeah, you have no experience. Fine. That's totally fine, Salim. And it will go from the basics, from installation or why we are installing the software. From that stage till after 15 to 20 days, you will be seeing what we are doing. Okay. So because this is a weekend batch, right? So again, depends on how long or how many questions you guys ask, the session will extend. And I make sure I explain my level best to explain every concepts and so. So yeah, teaching style of the trainer. That's why I'm here. Yes, I. So obviously, so many there are a lot of institutes and lot of trainings out there, but this is purely practicals. Okay, so yeah, it's minimum 4 weeks. Not four, 5 weekends. It will be Amir. Okay. So 5 weekends it will be, and after that, based on yeah, total how many hours? Okay, that's a good question. So totally it will be around 20 plus hours. Okay, so at least 4 to 5 weeks of content is there. If you have any doubts or if we have any other questions, the sessions will prolong, and I expect you to ask doubts. So that's my only thing. That's great, Stalin. Yeah, you're working in. It is related only network, so that's fine. Great. So I guess we can start the session. We have ample amount of people here, so fine. So once again, welcome to the session. So this is Linux Administrator batch 335, and yeah, this is the support email support@logiclabstech.com. Okay. So yeah, we will come back to this banner at the last. So what is this general information is? So yeah, the first so let me quickly go through this points. Okay. So the first two sessions will be free. And from the third session, only for the paid candidates, the meeting link will be shared. Okay. So the first two sessions recording will be shared. And first two in the sense, even today and then tomorrow session will be shared with everyone. Okay, so means in the YouTube channel or yeah, so the link will be shared in the WhatsApp community. The YouTube channel, the videos link will be shared, and you can go through that, and you can even go through my previous recordings. Right? This is my at least 15 batch, I guess, with the Logic Labs. So yeah, and for any updated related to our course or anything, if I'm not available on that day, or any update related to our this particular course, you just need to join with the to this WhatsApp link or WhatsApp channel link. I'll just leave that in the chat as well. So try to join this one. So just click on this link and click join chat. So this will redirect you to the WhatsApp web. Okay. So if you have, if not in your mobile, if you're trying to open this link, it will automatically redirect to the WhatsApp community. Sorry, community it will go, and you will be notified if there is any update in the sessions. Okay. And the next one is the recordings and everything. We are using the LMS as Graphy, LMS portal. I will go through that, how to register and those things. And the next one is like the support team. Like let's say you're having payment related issue, and like that's what like the timing you're not fine with it or anything. Literally, like if a recording is not able to downloadable in your case or any such issues, please do reach out to the support team, and they will be available only during the working hours of 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Monday to Saturday. Okay, so 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. IST it is. Okay, and if you're really having issue connect like dropping an email or there is obviously there will be a response. If not, please do reach out to their mobile numbers. These two are the numbers. Okay, and no batch shifting and no refund. Okay, so that's one. And these are all the social media links. Okay, so we will go through these. Means the website I'll be showing you. So, but these are all the social media links like from Telegram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and so. Okay. So yeah, once again, this is a demo session only. So we will be seeing what and all is covered in our sessions and why we are covering it. That is also an important question, right? So because obviously Linux is it's a whole operating system. There is a huge thing, right? So obviously there is a lot of things which can be avoided because as a sysadmin, what and all is needed, what is what our course will be. And that's what I will be showing you, what are all the topics will be there. And mostly our sessions is based on RHCSA. What is that? Even that many won't be aware of. So we will see that, what is the certification and what is the syllabus of it, and the sample question paper also. Okay, so that's here one. And yeah, a little bit about myself and yeah. So Karthik here. So I have my RHCSA and RHCE. I'm planning to write before end of this year, maybe. So yeah, because that is moreover Ansible. So this is moreover a fundamental and intermediate level, RHCSA. Okay. And currently working as a platform engineer in one of the MNC and handling more than 9,000 to 10,000 servers on day-to-day basis. Okay. So whatever, and one more important disclaimer is what it's not only like the syllabus is not only for exam. Okay, so whatever we do in day-to-day activity, I'll be showing you. Okay, so like troubleshooting, especially because in your exam, especially RHCSA, you don't have troubleshooting or you don't have many questions regarding troubleshooting. Whereas in our sessions, we'll be discussing a lot of things. Whatever I do personally to troubleshoot if there is any system failure or some hardware issue, how to troubleshoot it. Okay, so there is at least one or two sessions will be dedicated only for that troubleshooting. Okay, so yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, since I got a response like many are very new to Linux, right? So let me go through one by one. So first thing, what is Linux and why still it's relevant? Because you might have seen, or if you're not sure, there is a lot of operating systems out there. It used to be. Okay, so but Linux dominated, and we will see why. Okay, so first thing, what is a Linux? So the Linux is just like an operating system, like what we do now. So what is the operating system I'm personally using is Windows. right? So obviously you might be using Windows or Mac, which is mostly the commercial operating system, whereas Linux is also commercial, but not as many users are there. And companies do prefer Linux. Okay, so those are all the traits of Linux. So coming back to what is Linux, so Linux is just another operating system with a lot of features and much more optimized, right? So, and the folder structure. Okay, so it has a very unique folder structure which you can't find in any other operating system, and it has its own reasons for that. We will dig into that later. Okay, so now, uh, like what is the core of your Linux is? So let me go to this link, and he's the one who came up with Linux. Okay, his name is Linus Torvalds. So Linux is based on Unix. Okay, so you might have heard Unix. If not, Unix is a very, very basic operating system. It is also an operating system, but it is a, how to say, like it is a CLI or code-based operating system. And one sec. What is CLI and GUI? You must know, right? Yeah. So first thing, I might have used CLI and GUI a lot of places. So what is CLI is command line interface. So these are all two types of interface. There is one more. Even I will explain that. GUI is graphical user interface. Okay, so TUI is text based user interface. Okay. So first thing, what is, let me explain GUI first because that's what we are using now. So this mission, right? So this is my Windows 10. Okay. So I can interact with my machine using the cursor, and so this is the cursor point, and I'm scrolling, right? So I can interact with this machine based on my keyboard and mouse, and using my GUI, especially each and every icon represents something, right? So you can open the task manager, and you can do whatever you want. Like you can manage the system or you can use it for just browsing or something. So I am interacting with the whole mission based on every small detail is having graphical element, right? So you see this is depicted in a graph, right? So like that, each and every small things is graphical element, and I am clicking that, and I can see that settings is turned on or turned off, everything. Okay. So the point is there is a graphical element for literally everything. And that's what we are using. And how about CLI? So this is where mostly Linux differs because Linux does have GUI and we will install GUI only. But companies or almost anywhere, like your DevOps tools, you might have heard DevOps, right? So DevOps tools and those things, they use CLI only. So first thing, what is CLI? Is command line interface. So what is the easiest example is, let me give a Windows example only. We have the same, you just go to start and type CMD. Okay, so enter, and yeah. And one second, let me pause the screen share. Let me launch an application which will show you what are all the keys and one second. Yeah, yeah. So whatever keys I'm typing, right? So it will be showing here. So okay. So how many enters I press, or I'm pressing control, sorry, alt tab and all, right? So easily you can see using this tool. So recently in my sessions, I'm including that just for your because we will use, or I personally use a lot of shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts. So you must know what is the shortcut I'm using at the particular point, right? So that's the thing. Okay. So coming back to CLI, so I have a command, or I typed a command called as dir. And first thing, it is command based. So command based in the sense, simply I can't type view and it won't show me everything, right? So there are certain commands or binaries. Okay. So we will discuss what is binaries. later session, not today. Like tomorrow we'll cover that. But binaries are nothing but your commands only. Okay. So as of now, you just compare binaries with your what's that? So you have these many tools, right? So sorry, your shortcuts. So these are all actual binaries or executables. Okay. So that's what binaries, a basic understanding would be. Whereas here it is command based. Okay. So what if you type exact command only, it will work like a dir. And if you want to go inside something, I'm using tab. Okay. So cd app data. Let me go to cd cookies. Okay. So I'm pressing tab to autofill. Okay. So like that, you can go. So this is a CMD or command prompt for CLI version. And how about TUI? So TUI we will see, guys. Okay, so in our Linux we have TUI. So I will explain that later because first thing TUI we never use. Okay, so it's a very underrated one. It is useful, but it is like a combination of both CLI and GUI. Okay, so that's your TUI. You can't double click like you used to in GUI, but it does have some graphical element to it. So like that. Okay, so coming back to him. So he's the one who came up with the kernel. Okay, so kernel of, you see Linux kernel. So this is a GitHub page for open source. So our first thing, your whole operating system is open source. What is open source now? So there are two types of operating systems or any softwares you take. There is a term called as open source and closed source. So closed source, the best example is what? Same Windows example only. So our Windows, let's say you're having, let's go to settings. Okay. So do you have any privilege to change this layout? Or let's say I'm not into gaming. Can I disable this whole thing? Or I can remove this from the settings? No, right? And same thing like ease of access or update, especially update. So I don't want any Windows update. Can I remove this like this icon or this page itself? Can I remove? No, right? So that's what you don't have a control over the operating system or a closed source software. Okay, so if you do also, let's say I did remove this one, the next Windows update, right? Or next update, somehow you're getting an update. So that will overwrite whatever changes you made to the server or the system, and that's it. It will be back. Okay, so you don't have a control over this one. So for that, you can also do, but for that you need to avoid or there are some like you need to disable the Windows update and so many things. Okay, so whereas that's what the closed source, the Windows is the best example because they release a lot of updates, and with updates, it will overwrite whatever changes you make to the server. Whereas in Linux, right, so since it is open source, first thing, you can even create your own OS. That sounds intriguing, right? So you can even come up with your own OS, and many people did based on this kind of kernel. So this is called as kernel, and this is a part of your mission. Okay, so why it is quote unquote so serious thing? Because we will go through what is a kernel and how it is much useful, and those things we will discuss later. But as of now, it is an open source, and this is the evidence for that because you see, literally the whole code or the all the packages related to the kernel is posted online. So basically, even you can go through this link and download it. Okay. And you can even create your own OS. Obviously, you need to do a lot of things, but this is the main part. This is like a 40% important like tool. The kernel is. So you didn't build it from the scratch. It's already available. So that's the meaning for open source. You can make use of it. And you see the number of contributors, it's around 15,400. Those many people are there. And still, the best thing about this repo or uh, this kernel is it will be updated every now and then. There is someone in the contributors will be updating, and even you can become a contributor. Okay. So that's the thing about this kernel. And Linux is it has its own like pace. Okay, so it didn't right away boom, and the companies did use. So it gradually, so many competitors were there, but Linux kind of distracted everyone. Okay, and it has its own use case. So how that will be evident is if you go to this link, even this link I will give it in the chat. So we just click on this distro watch. So all this OS, it's not only pure Linux. So literally any OS you find here, it's like a their own version. Okay, so since Linux is open source, right? As I mentioned, you can create your own OS, and many indie developers. So indie developers in the sense, many who are interested in this kind of OS developing and all. So they clubbed together and created their own OS. So you have MX Linux, Linux Mint, Debian, Ubuntu. So Ubuntu, you guys might have heard, and it's a famous one. And yeah, we have so many OSs, and these are all the ranking based on how many users. It's not like official one, so it's a community. Okay, so this distro watch is a huge community. Okay, so just to show you how huge of a topic we are talking about, right? So obviously we won't see all this OS, but just to show you the scale which we are working on. Okay, so you have Red Hat in the 61st place, and this is what we will be seeing, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So this is the one. And first thing, what is Red Hat? Okay. So, but before that, in order to answer your last one, why it's still relevant in IT? So, why in the sense companies do prefer Linux, and companies need the sheer performance of the system, right? So, and Linux can deliver it. So the that's important, right? So let's say, and that is also one of the reason companies go or use CLI. They don't need this GUI, right? So obviously that's or it is a ease of access, but over period of time, if you're working with a lot of files, CLI makes a lot of sense comparatively. Okay, so that's the reason companies prefer that. And first thing, the way it treats all the system resources. If you go to performance, so these are all called as your system resources, which is your CPU, memory, disk, network, and GPU. Okay. So all these system resources is being used optimally if you are using Linux compared to Windows, right? So obviously there are so many options. It used to be there, but nowadays these two are the dominant one, which is your Windows and Linux, especially in enterprise. And what do I mean by enterprises? And I might use this term a lot is it's nothing but companies. So any MNC company or any company that's called as enterprise. Okay. So that's what the enterprise prefer Windows or Linux. And there are the amount of or the average amount of systems running is so Linux is around 85%. Windows is around Windows Server to be precise. The Windows Server is around 15% worldwide. Okay, so you see the literally which is the one dominating the industry, right? So that's the okay, and still it will be relevant. So that's a great assurance for you, right? So since you are starting your career in Linux, so obviously Linux will be there. Okay, so you need not worry that okay it will be outdated or something. So it will be there forever. Okay, so that's what I can assure you because even your IoT devices, right? So till that, Linux is what Raspberry Pi you might have heard, right? So there is a Raspberry Linux is also there. So Raspberry Pi has its own OS, which is based on Linux only. So even the future technologies or lot of things, Linux is there. Somehow it is there. Even your Android phone uses Linux, right? So it's not the full-fledged Linux, but somehow the kernel and a few elements are Linux only. Okay. So yeah, I guess I gave a very huge explanation for that. But the point is, it's needed, guys. Okay, so Linux is a must. Even for a developer, he must have basic idea how Linux works. Okay, so yeah, and this is the kind of a flow chart of what we are going to discuss. Okay, so first thing, what is user management? And like user management in general for any operating system is a important one, right? So why? Because let's say you are having your own or your company is there, right? So you need to manage your employees' data, and let's say you are a service-based company, you need to manage the client's employees' data as well, right? So or client's data. So there is a lot of managing the users and how to manage in that scale, right? So you have an MNC which is around at least 20,000 plus employees will be there. So how they are managing, right? So and especially in the server side, I'm not talking about in general. So in the server side, how they are managing and how secure the authentication is and how we can make it secure. So these are all we will be discussing. Okay. So yeah, that's your user management. And the most important one is disk management. So what is disk management? The first thing in our Windows or as a no like generic user, we don't usually care much in the disk management because obviously we are the one using the systems, right? So if there is no other person or we don't want it to be that optimal. Like no one depends on this. Let's say I'm particularly like creating a partition for just for this application or just for that particular log or something, right? So the point is we will dump everything together uh, in a single partition only. That's totally fine. As an end user, that's totally fine. But in your work environment, you can't do that. So there is a purpose for each and every small data is stored, right? So there will be a purpose because companies do spend a lot of money for your storage only. Okay, so we will come to that or we'll discuss that later. But as of now, companies do spend a lot of things in the storage, and that's where you need to uh, you need to manage the disks in order to store it optimally, right? Simply just like that, you can't throw some application or you can't simply install and call it a day. Obviously, no one can do that in even small company also. There will be a procedure and there will be data or a partition allocated just for that. Okay, just for one application, they will allocate it. And yeah, that's your disk management. And it's an important topic. Okay. And the next one is process management. What is process? So first thing, even a simple your Chrome tab you're opening, right? So let me open a Chrome tab. So this is the new tab. So let's say I'm opening anything, right? So any site, and I'm opening like hundreds of tabs. So each and everything is a process. It is a generically Chrome is a oh, let me open the task manager. You see, one process are running, not these all. So there are extensions also is there. So whereas each and everything like your foreground applications, background applications, all are processes. Okay, so we will discuss that how to manage it or like let's say if there is a huge usage or there is a spike in usage, spike in the sense like let's say let me open one more Chrome tab or let me start this VM. There will be a spike in this memory. Okay, so just to show you this one, obviously we will discuss these all, but you see, gradually it is increasing, right? Because I just now started that. So there is a spike in memory, and obviously spike in CPU is also there. You see, all of a sudden there is a spike. So you need to understand which is the application like results in this spike, right? So the point is like this lot of application. In my case, obviously as an end user, we run few applications. Whereas in your work environment, there is a server which can even run 15 to 20 applications, just one server. Okay. And there will be some servers which will serve only one application, and that will be huge. So the point is both the scenarios will be the same based on the importance of that particular application. It will differ. Okay, so that's the point. But these are all the things we need to manage, right? So how the processes use your CPU, or especially in your infra level, how it is managing. And infra means infrastructure. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So infrastructure, how it is in infrastructure is nothing but your CPU, memory, disks, and all is there, right? So again, it's a system resources only, but in general, if you are like referring the whole like array of servers, like let's say 5,000 servers, it will cumulatively form as a infra, right? So in general, we'll call it as infra. Okay, so that's the one. And we will discuss process management. A lot of topics are there. And the next one is system troubleshooting. And this is what I meant by like if there is any server down or any restart, and you need to analyze some logs if some process is not working as expected, right? So many things. So these actually in your exam, these won't be covered. There is one or two questions will be there, but we this syllabus part, it's purely based on what I do in my work environment. That's what we will have here. It's a very interesting session it will be. And lastly, why I mentioned as basic networking. So why? Because networking as a whole, it's a huge topic. Okay, so we can't cover, or that is a separate course itself. Okay, so networking will be, and that's the reason I given basic networking, which is like what are all the topics related to sysadmin, right? So like he will be configuring the route and adding a static IP, and what else, like firewall, like blocking the incoming and outgoing connections, right? So those SE Linux, like these kind of things we will be discussing in the networking. Okay, so yeah, so these are all the major flowchart or whatever we discussed, kind of a roadmap. Okay, so we'll start from user management and gradually we will move on. So disk management mostly I will cover at the last of the sessions because we need some buffer time for disk management. Right away, you can't obviously understand it right away. So once we are understood process, troubleshooting, and networking, lastly, I'll come back to disk management. Okay, so I'll just give a brief about that after user management, but yeah, we will discuss that one later sessions. Okay, so yeah, what is Red Hat now? Okay, so Red Hat is a one of a huge MNC now, and it has been acquired by IBM. Okay, so IBM acquired it like 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I guess. They acquired it, and yeah. So first thing, what is Red Hat is? Red Hat. The main purpose of Red Hat is also the same Linux only, but they streamlined it for particularly enterprise usage. So and they are the market leader in enterprise operating system. So, what is enterprise operating system? As I mentioned, it is purely for company purpose. Like they optimize the open source software for like like for your companies. Like let's say a company must have low latency, or the network should be at its best, right? So and companies do have the best infra, right? So like obviously compared to our own systems, or compared to my system, let me give uh, obviously in your work environment you will have even 128 gigs of memory, or even 1 TB is also there. Just a perspective I'm giving. 128 gigs of memory will be there for only one server. So the OS need to withstand those things, right? So and it is, or it will obviously, but how optimally it is managing the memory, right? So like that, many things considered. Red Hat came up with a OS called as Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay, so and that is their USP, and that's what called as RL in short. And that's your so they have been in the industry for quite some time. Okay, so it's not like a new or a startup company. So they've been in the industry for 25 years, I guess. And yeah, so there are so many softwares. So if you're already working in an IT, you might have heard so many softwares like these. Like, yeah, they even have their own cloud services, OCI, sorry, OCP. Okay, so uh, yeah, OpenShift Cloud Platform and automation you have, or you might have heard Ansible, right? So they are the one who own Ansible company and so many things. Okay, so if we cover whatever they do, that itself will take a lot of time. So just yeah, like they even have JBoss, right? So these are all um, some softwares which they own, and the whole Red Hat has been owned by IBM. So they acquired it, and it's a very huge and trustable company. And why still companies prefer Red Hat? Okay, so and even Red Hat is the dominant one, or RHEL is the it has the market share of 65%. Okay, so remaining okay, the remaining what are all the Linux operating systems? There are so many we have in DistroWatch, right? Not everything will be used in your work environment or in your companies don't prefer literally everything, right? So they have their own requirements, like Ubuntu will be used, Debian, and why not every other operating systems, right? So the most important one for any companies is the support. So support is the most important one, and Red Hat is like a is their USP is also support only. So why or how they're sustaining for these many years is they have the best support team out there, and they will support 24 bar 7 for any query if you have. So, and obviously, every company must have a subscription for the support, and we will see that how awesome their support is. And I will even show you one of my one of a case. We can even raise our own cases, and I will show you that also. Okay, so don't worry about it. But the point is, Red Hat is a huge company, and their OS is what we will be covering. It's not like some other OS we'll cover. Like we have Kali Linux, and so many CentOS is there, and yeah, but we don't cover everything. So only Red Hat is what companies prefer. And obviously, if you know that knowledge only, like they will select you, right? And how to assure you know that assure the interviewer that you know that knowledge is you have a certification for that, which is Red Hat Certified System Administrator. Okay, so clearly from the uh, like if you have the certificate and it is an entry level certificate, it's not a very hard exam, first thing. But you must know all the basic core components of whatever is part of the Linux. You must know that. Okay. So then only you can even approach this exam. So simply just like that, you can't. Like you can say that okay, I did this certification. Let's say you have Azure certifications, right? Azure, Microsoft Azure and all. Mostly like 90% of certifications will be MCQ or multiple choice questions will be there, right? Whereas this is not. Okay, so it is purely practical based. And let me even show you the question paper. So you just go to this link, guys. So you just type bit.ly Linux LL1. Okay, or you can even click this drive link. So it is bit.ly Linux LL1. So any system resources, right? So will be posted to this link, or any resources related to our course will be posted here, not in general. So yeah, okay. So this is the question paper, RHCSA Q. And you see any MCQ here? Obviously no. Okay, so it is, let's say if you don't know the commands to answer these, you can't answer it, right? So simply that's the ground rule, right? So if you know the question or if you know the commands related to that question, you can answer it. So that's how it is. And this is the question paper. And please do bookmark this drive, guys. Okay. So I would urge you to just bookmark it. And because anything related to our course will be posted here. Okay. And I will come back to this link because I need to explain you what are these installation files or what are all the files needed for our lab. we will come back to that link. But as of now, just bookmark it. Okay. And yeah, so and I would not urge you to complete this certification. Okay, so it's not like a mandatory thing. Obviously, you must complete and all because there is a price for it. It's not free certification. Okay, so it's a costly one only, but still, if you have this, it will create a credibility in your resume that okay, he knows the basics and intermediate level. So that is an affirmation you are giving to the interviewer that okay, he knows something in Linux. So their questions will be like that, right? So it's like they won't start with the basic questions. Rather, uh, so they will have an idea that okay, at least you know something, right? So the questions also, sorry, the interview will be on that. Okay. So yeah, just give me a few minutes, Ravindra. So once I complete, we will have a doubt clearing session. Okay. Just few more minutes. And yeah, so that's your exams code EX200. And the exams fees is, let me give it right away. So the fees is around 20K INR. Okay. So if you're already working in a company, obviously you can try for the reimbursement. Okay. So most companies do allow this certification and uh, it is kind of a must, especially. Okay. So you have LFCS. So many certifications are there, guys. Okay. So LFCS is there. Form TIA, SIS plus. So like this also one certification is there. And so many. Okay. So I'm not exaggerating. So many literally are there. And RHCSA has its own credibility, trust me. So many companies or almost everywhere you might see Red Hat. So that's the reason if you have their own certification, that is a huge boost in your resume. Okay. So yeah, coming back to our syllabus. So just stick with me for some more minutes. I will cover all these topics, what the basics of this syllabus, and I will take any doubts. Okay, so yeah, right. So, but before that, okay. Yeah, Ravindra, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, Karthik. My name is Ravi.
Yeah,
Karthik,
yeah, Ravindra.
check after this completion of the course, we will be able to attend the certification exam or
Yeah, obviously, as I mentioned before, so you just like our course will revolve around the certificate only. All the topics, literally, if you cover or if you go through these topics, right? So if you see, our syllabus is actually based on the Red Hat certification only. So, and few more. Not only that. So, obviously, once you're done with my sessions, and just take one more week and practice it, and immediately you can attend the exam. I can assure you, you would pass the exam. Okay. So because we will solve all the exams question. Okay. So how I will usually move forward, how I will take the sessions is like, let's say I'm covering network. I will once I explain you the basics of networking topics, I will give this question as an example, right? So easily you can also relate to it because on one day itself, if I cover everything, it is a lot actually. So let's say I'm doing this ACL topic. I will be once I given a basic example of what is ACL. Lastly, we'll cover what is that question related to that. So trust me, like you can clear the exam, and many did clear the exam after the sessions. Okay, so yeah,
okay, thank you, Karthik.
yeah. Ram. Can we go for RHCSE instead of RHCSA? Okay, it is RHCE, Amir. So RHCE actually, yeah. So you no, actually, directly you can't go to it. So there is a prerequisite. So RHCSA is the prerequisite for RHCE. Okay, so you must do RHCSA, then only you can do RHCE. And please don't directly try for RHCE, I would say. Sorry, please don't prepare directly to it because RHCE is like literally 70% is fully answerable. So, so the and the target members of who like whom to be certified, right? So he should be at least 4 years of Linux. So he should be having 4 years of Linux experience. So they are the target users for who can appear in the exam itself. So obviously we are not, right. So that's the thing. So you just start from the basics and it is useful. Okay. So it's not like RHCSA is a very, very basic certification, nothing like that. It is a good certification. And it's not very basics also. Like your Azure fundamental certification is there, right? Um, yeah. So you might have heard this one, AZ 900. You might have seen in LinkedIn and all. Many people would have posted their this certification. This is a very fundamental or very, very basic certification. Compared to that, obviously RHCSA is far better and so many topics are covered. Okay, so that's what, like whatever topics we see, if I don't give the exams question paper also, or if you don't discuss also, still you can crack the exam. Why? Because literally everything or from the basics till intermediate we'll cover. Okay, so that's the trick. Okay, so yeah. Fine. So let me go. Just give me another 10 more minutes. Okay, so I will just go through every topics here. So yeah, fine. So first thing, what is introduction? And that's the next session we'll be seeing that what is Red Hat and what is a RHEL basically. And I given version 8. So we are using version 8 or 9. You can either use any one of them. And RHEL 7 is what not being used in your companies also. Nowadays, they are transitioning from RHEL 7 to 8 or 9. Why? Because that's what like RHEL 7 is it reaches EOL. Okay, so end of life. So even Red Hat themselves won't. So it reaches EOL means like they don't support it moving forward. Obviously they will, but it will how to say it, the RHEL 8 and 9 is preferred compared to your RHEL 7, RHEL 6, right? So the RHEL 6 or yeah, RHEL 6 is almost no companies are using it. So RHEL 7 and RHEL 8 and RHEL 9 is what being used. So we will be using RHEL 8 and 9 both. Okay, so because in AWS or in GCP we will be installing RHEL 9 in our base machine or in my own laptop or anywhere we will be using RHEL 8. Okay, so and what is the difference you might ask? Trust me, there is now nothing much difference as an end user. So almost everything will be the same. Okay, so what are all the differences also we will discuss. Okay, and there are major difference from RHEL 7 to 8 and 9. But yeah, so RHEL 8 and RHEL 9, there is not much difference. Okay, and the next one is what is essential and advanced Linux commands. So obviously, many might already know that if you want to do a simple task in your Linux, you must type a command. That's true, but it's not like a scary thing, or it's no. You should not be overwhelmed about. Okay, there are so many commands out there, and trust me, like there are. Okay, so it's like around 2,000 plus commands are there, 2K commands. Okay, so obviously, and trust me, no none of the courses or in your work environment, no one will use 2K. The whole 2K commands are not being used. Okay, so the point is you will be using at least 100 commands. 100 to 150 is the command ranges. Okay, so obviously there are options in the commands. Okay, so it's not like, okay, so then it's like it's not kind of inferior to Windows. Okay, so obviously you're not limited. You actually have much more options compared to your Windows, like in operational level. But the point is, you will be using at least 100 to 150 commands, and we will be discussing everything from the basics. Okay, so you need not worry about, okay, I need to memorize these commands because many does that mistake that okay, I need to memorize it, and in your exam also you will have that you can open the help section of the command and see that is also allowed actually. Okay, so there won't be any mark detected or something for opening the help section. Obviously, anyone is allowed to do that because obviously Red Hat all themselves know that anyone can't remember almost every option, right? So obviously, because trust me, each and every command will have. Um, Let me connect to the server and show you one sec. Then only you'll have an idea about how many options we are talking about. So even a simple command will have 20 to 30 options in it. And what is a command and options we will discuss. But the point is, don't be overwhelmed about, okay, these many are there. Like it's a huge thing. Obviously, we are talking in a whole OS is a huge thing, right? So obviously it might intrigue you, but still don't panic. Okay, so that's what I would say. So if you take user add a basic command, I will show you. So this is how you view the help section. You see, obviously no one can memorize all these options, right? And this is only one command. Okay, so there are few commands which will have um, even more options. Okay, so that's the thing. And this is the CLI of your or this is your same OS. Okay, okay. So this is the mission. I'm logged in remotely. Okay, so we will do that installation in next session, and that's the next point. How to install your Rel 8 in all the three methods I'll be showing you. How to install in your base mission, how to install in your AWS and GCP is also I'll be showing you. Azure, I won't. Okay, so why? Because, and I would not even suggest you to use Azure. It's not I'm against Azure, because Azure is not giving free credits, guys. Okay, so obviously for a lab, you should use it for free, right? So Azure doesn't give you free credits. Well, if you're a student, you can obviously use Azure. I won't restrict you, but only for students they are giving $100 as a coupon, right? So obviously, in my case, I'm not a student, right? So I need a free alternative for like I'm not uh, 100% sure my laptop or my system will support the OS. If you are thinking like that, obviously you can use AWS or GCP, and both are free. Okay. So I will even show you how to set up your AWS and GCP in next session and how to install in our base machine. Everything will be discussed in tomorrow's session. Okay. And tomorrow, obviously, since it is purely practicals, right? So if you set up your whole mission, then only we can at least proceed with the first topic itself. So that's how much important a working lab is. Okay, so if your mission itself, you can install this one. I will show you how to install and everything. So don't worry about it in next session. Okay. And the next one is performance monitoring. So this is the monitoring. Okay, so one sec. Let me type the system resources here also. So what is system resources? You have CPU, memory or RAM, and what else? Hard disk. And by the way, HDD and SSD means it is storage, guys. So HDD full form is hard disk drive. SSD means solid state. Okay, so that's the hard disk, both are storage. Okay, so HDD or SSD. And the next one is your network. And lastly is your GPU. So this five metrics or five components, okay, are the major one in any system, not only in Linux, literally for Windows or any your Mac OS, anywhere. So these five are the most important one, okay? And yeah, so how to manage it, right? So you obviously we can't simply stare this metrics and see, okay, it is reached the threshold or it is going more than the threshold, right? So let's say it is reaching, in this case itself, it is more than 80%. So let's say I have a threshold of 85%. It will like I need to act on it. Okay, what is consuming? I need to kill a process, or I need to do something to reduce this usage, right? So the point is, you can monitor for one system. So one system is fine, even two systems are fine. But if we are talking in a volume of thousands of systems, right? So in a company, you might even have 20,000 or even 50,000 of servers. So how to manage in that scale? So that's where your monitoring tools are there. So monitoring tools are a must, especially in a as a Linux admin. You must have a basic idea. It's not like you should master the monitoring tools. You must have a basic idea how to create an alert or how it actually works. If you have the crux of that knowledge itself, is more than enough. Okay, so the monitoring tools. Now you might ask, okay, what are all the monitoring tools? There is like a lot of tools are there. So you have Dynatrace, which is a very famous one. You have Zabbix, and in monitoring tools itself, there are categories. Okay, so there are a few categories, which is like Splunk is for log monitoring. Okay, so New Relic is for your infra itself, the whole, all the four, five components you can monitor in New Relic, right? So Dynatrace means you can monitor, it's an APM tool, application performance monitoring, APM. Okay, so it's a APM tool like that. So many tools out there. Okay, so at least one I will try to show you guys. Okay, at the last of the session, not right away. At the last, if possible, obviously I will try to cover it. If not, I will post it in the resource section. Okay, I will post it here. The course or the course link I might post it here because in the drive you will have a limited space, right? So I will post at least the drive link for that particular course. And Grafana is what in our company we are using. And it's a very neat and easy UI tool. Okay, so that UI is easy for you to understand. Okay, so that's your monitoring tools. So with that tool, so you won't monitor the whole systems. Rather, you will you will create an alert for literally everything. Let's say for CPU or let's say a hard disk, right? So a hard disk is reaching its threshold, like 90% it is reaching the usage. So then it will alert us through mail or through anything, notification or any type of notification you can configure. It will alert us and we need to act on it as a sysadmin. Okay, so these are all kind of a BAU activities. So BAU means business as usual. Okay, so means what are all day-to-day activities you will use, right? So that's what called as BAU. So these are all kind of BAU activities which you will or you must do as a monitoring, sorry, as a sysadmin, and you must monitor also because you are the one who is responsible for the server to not have a downtime, right? So downtime in the sense the server should be up. So let's say an easy example would be it's the same drive itself. I will explain you. So what if I open this drive link and not like it is showing us no data? Obviously, we will panic, right? Or this drive link itself is not being accessed for, sorry, accessible for 1 day. That is that will create panic in almost any time if you have that kind of issue, because literally you will be relying on this drive, right? So that's what called as downtime. So if this is not being, this link is not working, means from wherever this server is, and by the way, drive is also posted in some server. Obviously, it might locate it in somewhere. We're talking about Google, right? So they have servers almost everywhere. So the point is, they need to be having a very good infra in order to avoid any such downtime. And they already have in terms of Google. But how does this failover or failback happens? Actually, there is a term called as failover and failback. Okay, so we will discuss that those things also. Okay, so how those things works in the performance monitoring session, we will be discussing. Okay. And the next one is, as I mentioned, in user management, how to, so these are all basic user manipulation commands. So how to create a user, delete, modify, how to manage a password, and what is password aging tool, right? So password aging control. Okay, so there is a tool for that. And how to configure super user or privileged access, right? So these are all kind of an important topics for a user management, and we will discuss that. Okay. And the next one is I'll quickly go through this. Okay. So because we already have a basic idea of whatever is the basic roadmap we did discuss right here. So these are all topics based on that only. Okay, so that's what. And you see how to use the basic tools like copy, move, create. So obviously, one single session itself, we will be covering all these commands and those things, basic tools and all. Okay, and how to access the server remotely. So that's what I did now, just now, right? So I'm accessing this machine remotely using this software. So how did I do that? So that's using SSH. Okay, so SSH full form is secure shell. We will discuss these all. Okay, and these are all you must know. Okay, so it's a mandatory thing as a sysadmin. And the next one is what is archive and why we need to do an archive. So first thing, as I mentioned, your data or companies do spend a lot of money in the storage, right? So, and the storage should be optimal, as I mentioned. So, you should not have a stale storage or stale files or folders. So, stale in the sense you are not using that or some old files, let's say. So, you're having a log which is like a 1 year old. Obviously, it is consuming some data and you're not using it. So then you need to archive it. Means you are compressing that and storing it in some other server. So there will be a dedicated archive server itself. So how to transfer it and how SCP or these things works, we will be discussing. Okay, so in this archive session, kind of an important one because as a sysadmin, you will do this. Okay, so that's the one. And again, the file manipulation commands, how to create, delete, copy, move, all these commands, and what is hard link, soft link, and file permission, guys. Okay, so file permissions is also a very, very important section because trust me, Windows also have file permission, but it has its own way and Linux has its own way. Okay, so how it is differing, we'll be discussing, and it's a very, very interesting way of approach actually, which is preferred by the companies. Okay, so it's how to say, it is a business, the best practice. Okay, so this will be the file permissions and all we'll discuss. And the next one is your booting procedure. And in the next session itself, we'll be discussing about booting procedure. Okay, so I actually can cover today, but it is a lot to take in the very first day. Obviously, in next session, we'll be discussing booting procedure and how to install in or how to set up our lab in all the three methods I'll be showing. Okay, so the first thing is what is how it is like how to interrupt your boot. That is an important thing. And what are all the different stages in your boot? And so many things we'll be discussing based on the booting only. Okay, and the next one is, as I mentioned, how to identify there is a spike or not, and what is the process respective to that. Here in your Windows, since it is GUI, and here also it's not like this is an average only. Okay, so if you see a CPU, this is an average. It's not per core it is showing, right? So per core in the sense like this. It's not showing for one single core or one single thread, right? So it's just showing a average of it, and it's not that reliable. So only if you go to this resource monitor, then only you will have an idea. Here only you will have a clear information of what is, you see the average. That's what actually you're seeing, right? So that's not reliable because let's say in this case itself, this one CPU thread is one CPU core is used a lot compared to others, right? So yeah, that's how it will be. Okay, so we will discuss why there is a spike in only one compared to others, and if, in some cases there will be false alert also. Okay, so why there is a false alert and those things and all we'll discuss. So those are all kind of advanced topics. Why it is happening? So you are questioning back to the system, right? So first thing you need to understand how it is configured. Then you can question back that why it is actually happening, right? So yeah. right? So that's your identifying the CPU and memory intensive process. And you won't get these all in your exam, okay? So exam will be pretty much major topics only covered. So these are all your real-time examples, whatever I personally do in my company. So that's what these topics about. And what is tuned profile and how to locate a log file. That's important, right? Because trust me, a lot of logs will be there. First thing, what is a log, right? So it's the same data only. So at particular time, so let's say 7 or 5 p.m. IST, the memory usage is 80%. And let's say another 5 more minutes, 7:10, the memory will be, let's say 75%. So you're having a metrics or you're having a data about, okay, what is actually, what is your metrics of your resources, right? So like that, you must have a log for literally everything. It's not only this monitoring or the system resources. You will have a log for user management, right? So which user logged in at what time, and including seconds, it will be showing you. Okay, so that's the best thing about Linux is literally everything you can see. And let's say you connect a pen drive or you connect some hard disk or any external device you connect, even that should be logged, right? So there is like 20 logs are there, different logs, event log, system log, authentication log, at like a user management log, like that. The list goes on. Like 20 categories are there, and we will discuss how to analyze each and everything. Because trust me, you will be lost in the logs. Okay, so there will be like every second it will log, right? So you will be lost in that for sure. You must find the exact log. So, and system will be logging. Okay, so that's the only thing. Let's say something happened in your server, means let's say the system automatically rebooted, and it does a lot of times in your work environment. So how to identify what is the cause for the reboot? Obviously logs. That's the only thing which is keep on running, right? So and after reboot also it will be keep on logging. So log is very, very important, as especially for sysadmins. And we will see that how to analyze a log. That itself is a skill actually. Okay, so yeah, and how to preserve the logs. Using archive, we will preserve for let's say for few years you want that log. Means you can preserve that also. How to do that and those things we'll be discussing. And how this is all process management. How to start, stop, check, or if it is not running, how to restart the system services. Any system services or any application service, how it works, how to analyze, and everything we'll be discussing. And how to transfer a files between different servers, because there are different methods. You have FTP server and you have SCP, rsync. So these are all different methods itself. It's not related. Okay, so these are all different methods, and we'll be discussing that. And the server patching. So I had many requests in my previous patches regarding the patching. Okay, so how the patching works, and I can't actually show you the satellite patching. I can show you the steps, but I can't show you in reality because we need to pay Red Hat for the satellite patching and all for the packages. So I'll be showing you the commands and I'll explain it. Okay, but um, like the that's what, like, for the packages we need to pay for Red Hat. So you need not actually. Okay, so and the patching is um, like, what is patching, by the way? Like, let's say not every system is perfect, right? So let's say this disk, again and again I'm giving task manager example is easily you can relate it to. Okay, and this is what we will see. So let's say this section is not giving a um, right output. So then what I will do, right? So or this one or any settings, let's say this section is not being updated. Even though I'm turning on this one, automatically it's turning off. Like this, these are all small bugs or errors, right? So how to fix this? I particularly installed this one. How it is fixed is in your Android phone, you will get an OS update or OS system patching. Sorry, system security updates you might get. Even in Windows, you will get it. The same thing goes in your Linux also. So it is for the whole server also you will update, or only for that particular application also you will update. So there are different patching cycle, it is called as. For each quarter, means every 3 months once they will patch. Again, it depends on each company, but most cases it will be every 3 months once they will, uh, even though there is update or not, some package might have update, right? So that's the reason they will have that cycle. Okay, so trust me, like few topics only is there. So the next one is fully disk management. Okay, so how to manipulate the disks, like creation, extension, right? So how to delete it, how to assign, like how to format it, because almost same only. Okay, so Windows and Linux kind of same only in disk management perspective, but in here, okay, let me give a perspective. So this disk 0 and 1, can we combine these two? Like disk 0 is around 1.8 TB, means 1800 gigs. Okay. Whereas disk 1 is 200 gigs. Can I combine this two and call it 2000 gigs or 2 TB? It's impossible, right? Natively, it is not possible. If I try to use some tool also, it might work or it might not, but natively, I can't do that. Okay. Whereas in Linux, you can. Okay. So that's what called as LVM, or logical volume management. And that's your this one, LVM. Okay. The most important topic, guys. Okay. As I mentioned, disk management is so important, and LVM is the USP for that. And okay, so let's say somehow you did combine these two. Let's say in your Windows using some third-party tools. But if you combine, right, any one of the disk you need to format it fully, right? So that's a bad thing, right? So it is like a small disk only, this one. Let's say in your work environment, you are talking about 1 or 2 TB of size, and it's a full size is like, let's say fully it is occupied. You need to copy it to some other thing, and then only you can clear, you can mount it to some other disk, and you need to copy it back. That's a huge thing, right? Huge volume you're talking about. So, and that's what. And your LVM, if you have any file or a very, very important file also, you will have a confidence to um, configure that LVM or extend it. So this is what called as extension, right? So I'm extending this 1.8 TB to 2 TB using this disk one. So that's what I can extend it. Okay, so it's doable and it is being used like any company you take. LVM is a basic rule, or basic thing. Even for a OS disk, we will do that. We will see this. It's a very interesting session. It will be LVM and all, because it's a very unique perspective. And I'm not sure why Windows doesn't do that natively, because that's kind of a mandatory thing you must do. If you try to do it in third party, I actually tried using third party, it will try to format any one of the disks. Either it will ask you to format disk 0 or disk 1. You can't do it without formatting, which is a bad thing. Okay, so I'm not like putting Windows in the spot, but the point is it's kind of outdated. Okay, so how they manage the disks, and trust me, it's the same disk management in your Windows server also. It's not different. Okay, so yeah. Fine. So that's your LVM, and how to create a mount, or what is mount point, what is file system, what are the different types of file system, and if something went wrong, like you see how to diagnose it. Let's say if you try to mount is nothing. It's a simple thing only, guys. So let's say you insert your pen drive or external hard disk, it is not visible in your Windows Explorer means that's what called as mounting. So it should mount. Okay, so it should have a this label like F colon, E colon or something. If it is not, it's not mounting. Okay, so that's what that is about. We need to diagnose it. How to do that and those things. And what is Stratus and video and all we'll discuss. Okay. And the next one is security is most important for any OS, right? So all these are security topics. What is firewall? How key-based authentication works? Very, very important session. This is because you might be using key-based authentication already. Let's say you're having a hands-on in AWS or GCP and all. You might not know the full picture about the how it is actually working. Many might not know what is going in the background. Obviously, you might have configured the key. That's it. But what is actually happening in the background, no one have an idea. So we will have one dedicated session just for key-based authentication. It's an important one. In your interviews also, you will get this one. Okay, so yeah. And the next one is firewall. And yeah, so what is how to block uh, a foreign connection, like incoming connections, outgoing connections, how to make a filter out of it and uh, filter any like unwanted connections and how to avoid any DDoS attack and all. Those things we will discuss. And the next one is uh, yeah, regarding the file permissions, how to protect the file to a certain extent, and how to restrict the user to use only certain commands and use only certain paths. That those things we'll discuss. Okay, so using that. And what is SE Linux? SE Linux full form is Security Enhanced Linux. Okay, so there is a dedicated software inside Linux or inside OS just for securing it. And you guys might already have an idea like Linux is also one of the most secure operating systems out there, right? So that's the thing. And the basic network, as I mentioned, how to configure a static IP, what is host name, how to configure a host name. These are all we will do next session itself, the host name and all. And if something went wrong in the network service, how to start and stop it, and how to configure it to automatically boot along with the OS. Okay, so the next one, these are all the last topics. Okay, so what is containers, right? So like containers and all, it's a new topic, or you might have heard a term called as Docker. Does anyone have an idea about Docker? You might have heard it, obviously, if you're already working, you might have heard this tool. So Docker is a tool for containers, okay? And what is the difference between a VM or a virtualization and containers? We will see in the next session. Okay, so how to configure it? And Podman is it's like a similar to Docker. It's like a Red Hat's version of Docker. Okay, so that's your Podman, and so many softwares are there. So why containers? Because you have an exams question on container, and you can even put this container knowledge in your resume. Okay, so that's the okay. And the last topic is VMware vSphere. So what is vSphere and why all of a sudden we are talking about VMware is actually we will be using VMware software for our local installation, and your companies don't use this software. Actually, this is the VMware workstation, and your companies don't use these, okay, or this particular workstation. Rather, it will be using VMware vSphere. So what is vSphere is? So this is how it will look like in your work environment. Yeah, the image is not clear. So, but you have an idea, right? Like you see, there is different servers, and you see the CPU usage, memory, just like we see in the task manager. This is virtual environment, and inside that, how much it is being used, what is the hardware configuration, like this UI actually it will be. And why I mentioned it in the like in as in a topic is actually you can't install this in your machine, guys. Why? Because it's a huge software. You need to have 120 gigs of hard disk just for using this. Okay, so it's a huge one. So I will try to install in my machine because it is you must have a PC. In laptops, actually, this doesn't work. It's a very huge software. Okay, so in laptops, it doesn't work. So I will try to install in my machine and I will show you the basics. I won't cover everything. Just I install an software, sorry, install an OS here and show you how to monitor inside this. because you can actually generate a log, and you can even create some permissions like this all, like here it is called as data store, right? So many things we'll cover this all. So with that, the whole syllabus is completed. Okay. So these many things we'll cover, mostly 20 hours is what the minimum is, and maximum based on your doubts, it will increase, guys. Okay. So at least 20 hours of content is there. Okay. And it can extend. It's not like it is for sure. Like we can complete. Obviously, you will have some doubts, right? So yeah. And this is the one. So again, it is not a free session. It is a paid one. So the course fees is around 4,130 INR or $50, 50 US dollars. Okay. And here it is mentioned as 15 days. So again, it depends. Okay. So it's approx value only. Okay. So the session time will be 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. IST. Okay. And is there any doubts till now, like regarding the sessions? And one more thing I forgot to mention. So once you're done with the course, so you can apply for jobs. So since many are new to Linux, right? So you can apply for sysadmin or Linux sysadmin. First, that role, and the next one is system engineer. Next one is DevOps, and last one is SRE. Full form is Site Reliability Engineer. So the point is, it's not like right away you can apply for SRE. So first thing, this is a kind of a roadmap of how you can proceed further. Okay, so once you're done with the sessions and you are a fresher, obviously you can apply for Linux sysadmin. Okay, so almost every companies have servers. Okay, so it's not like even non-IT companies. Let's say there is a company for which makes some automobile companies also has Linux servers, and they need some sysadmins. Okay, so the like Ford or what else, Shell. So many companies are there, which is literally not at all related to IT, but they do need some sysadmin, right? So they do have some servers to do some R&D or stuff. So you need to manage that service, right? So for that, Linux admin is there. And for any IT companies, obviously you need some Linux admin, right? So that's the one. And you have, like, that's what. If you are done with the sessions, you can, it's not like right away, you can't put this 2 years of experience, it will be like this. So once you're done with session, so from zero we'll be going. Okay, so literally basics, right? So from basics, uh, like how to install till how to diagnose your system. Okay, so how to diagnose an alert or so. So till that we'll cover from basics till intermediate level. It's not advanced level as someone I think yeah, Amir asked, right? RHCE. RHCE is an advanced stuff, not basics, right? So we will cover only till this, and that's more than enough. It's not like, okay, then I will prepare for our many does this mistake, trust me. Okay, so in my previous batches also, they will try to complete the batch and immediately they will go for advanced topics, and so you should actually put this knowledge in action, right? So let's say you are applying for Linux admin or you're using Linux in your work environment, that's great. So right away, don't try to excel in advance or any other software also. I would suggest that. Just do one at a time. And since you're, let's say you are a fresher, you must do one at a time. So you can't excel in every software at the same time. Okay, so it's not uh, like right away you can't study Linux and go for Docker or something. Right. So once you're done with Linux, Docker also use CLI. So Linux is like a backbone of all, not only Docker, all the DevOps tools have Linux as a backend. Because as I mentioned, Linux is where 85% of the server market or the whole enterprises use Linux, right? So literally, as I mentioned, developers also must have Linux knowledge. So that's the reason you must know. It's like a necessity now. Okay, so it's not a choice anymore. So you must know Linux no matter what. So that's the thing. If you already, obviously, companies do give some training and all, but if you already know, or if you're already having an experience like a sysadmin and all, that's the individual they prefer, especially for DevOps role or any SRE role and all. Okay. And once you're done with like sysadmin or you're working for 1 year or so, you can right away strive for system engineer or DevOps engineer. Okay. And for these, you need to understand some tools. It's not like right away just with Linux knowledge you can. So you need to understand these tools. One second, let me share my another screen. And apologies for my voice. Okay, so I'm not feeling well, so that's the reason. DevOps tools. Okay, this is a good image. One sec. Yeah. So you see, like Linux is one of them. Okay, so in operations, you all these tools actually in the back end you will have, especially here AWS is mentioned, right? So AWS or anywhere, you will Azure is there, right? So you will have in backend Linux will be there. Okay, and you see these many tools are there, and this is actually kind of outdated image, I would say, because there is even more tools are there. Okay, so as I mentioned, you can't excel in every tool. Trust me, at first. Okay, so once you're used to or once you're interested in all these, it's a matter of like few months. Okay, so you will be excelling in all these tools. And DevOps, as you guys might already know, if not, DevOps engineer is one of the most paid um, engineers out there, especially in IT, right? So that's what, because you are doing both the jobs. You are developing and managing it or doing the operations. So that's the, again, developing in the sense, it's not like pure developer. Only few things you will develop it. Okay. Mostly it will be managing only, but the point is that's what you have a lot of options here, especially Jenkins. And if you have at least one tool like this, one tool knowledge in every aspect, you will easily excel as a DevOps engineer or platform engineer. Okay, so yeah. And how about SRE? SRE is the same thing, but you will do a lot of automation and make sure the system is reliable even after your automation tool, right? So let's say, uh, because DevOps is like a lot of time you will spend in the server and you will do some automation, but not to a, only to a certain extent you will be doing, right? So SRE's main purpose is to automate and make sure the system is reliable. That's the thing, okay? And this is the home page of this one. Okay? If possible, can take local language. Sorry, Stalin, actually. We can't. Okay, so it's an English only. Okay, so yeah. So this is the portal, and we are using Graphy. Okay, so Graphy is the LMS, Learning Management System, and this is the course. This is the link. So just click on Buy Course, and once you click, it will ask you for credentials. Means you need to log in, and once you're logged in, you can buy the course. Okay, and as a disclaimer, there is no refund, or obviously if your payment is failed, or you can reach out to the support for that, but there is no refund once you are paid. Okay. And there is no batch shifting also. Let's say you opted for this batch, but you are trying to opt for or planning for the other batch, you can't do it. And um, yeah. Is there any doubts in the syllabus, guys? Anyone? And today's session's recording will be available in the uh, YouTube channel. Okay, so let me quickly show you the YouTube channel. Yeah, this is the YouTube channel link. Let me give it in the chat. Yeah, please do. You can go through my previous recordings as well. Yeah, this old batch recordings. And if you're really fine with my way of approach, and it's purely practical, guys. Obviously, first few sessions will be theory because you must know basics, right? So first, at least two sessions. The next two sessions will be theory, and after that, it will be purely practical. And it must be practical because we can't simply I can't give a theory part just for like what is ACL and all. I can't explain. Obviously, it will be what is that command, and it will be pure hands-on session. Okay, and yeah. So now, just go to this drive link and please do bookmark, guys. Okay, so many does miss this drive link, and I just that's also one of the reason I created a shortcut for it. So just type bit.ly/LinuxLL1. So if you go to this link, automatically it will redirect you to the, yeah, Linux resources. Okay. So just go here and the first directory or first folder, right? It is installation files. And one second, I'm opening this view. Yeah. So this rel hyphen 8.4 ISO. Okay. So please do download this. Right click download and download the file above it. VMware workstation. Right click download. So why? Because these two are needed for our uh, this one, like our lab. Okay, so for people who are fine with using your machine for the labs, and let's say you're using your company's laptop because you don't have privilege to use your company's laptop for company's laptop for lab. In some cases, if possible, if you are having access to install, please do. If not, obviously don't try it. Okay, so in that case, we will be using AWS and GCP. I'll be showing you both. Okay, so don't worry about it. So yeah, in tomorrow's session, we'll be seeing how to set up the whole machine. And yeah, so that's it about the syllabus part. So any doubts till now? Anyone? Please do let me know. Doubts in the syllabus or because I even gave an idea about what and all you can apply for after once you're done with the sessions. And today and tomorrow session is for the demo, guys. Okay. So once you're fine with my way of approach, you can opt for the sessions. Okay. So yeah, one sec. This is the link for opting for the session. And try to join tomorrow session at the same time, 6 p.m. IST. Okay. So because few people are from US, right? So yeah. Fine. So let me stop it here and let's see in next session, guys. Okay. So thanks really for your time on the weekend and let's see in tomorrow session. Okay. And again, like the recording will be posted, like today's recording will be posted in the YouTube channel. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Stalin. Yeah. Thanks all for your time. Have a great day. Bye bye. See you in tomorrow's session, guys. Okay. Bye bye.